Hello everybody and welcome back to Tournament of the Old World, or TOTOW as I like to call it, with Jeff the Ref. We're literally in his back garden. It's massive. He is a lord after all, so that's not surprising. We're in the Bretonian lands here, and we are dealing with something a little less pleasant than the surroundings that we see here with these gorgeous hills, these Arthurian-style castles all dotted around the place. There's a lot of them, aren't there? When you look around, there are a lot of these Arthurian-style buildings. Anyway, we've got Ku'Gath Plaguefather versus Festus the Leechlord. And of course, what are we talking about? It's got to be Nurgle. A little bit of the old Nurgle, as we've got some Forsaken of Nurgle over here. Again, we know what's Forsaken like. They have very shiny, spiky bits, and they have glowing eyes. They're a tough unit, hit hard, and they don't break easy. Along Ku'Gath's front line, we also have some Plague Bearers of Nurgle. Now, have you ever seen these guys? They're a little bit horny, and they're a little bit, yeah, cysty, pustuley. They're not very pretty. They're very tough, though. They've got a lot of hit points. They're not very quick, though. He's got a couple of those. He's also brought himself some Marauders of Nurgle. These poor guys decided that Nurgle was their choice of patron deity, and what did they get for it? They got painted green. That's what happened to these guys. And we have probably the most endearing unit of the Nurgle side, the Nurglings. These comedic bunch of little devils will literally eat you alive and find it hilarious while they do it. And finally, Ku'Gath is bringing a unit of Chaos Chariots. I feel sorry for the horses being all affected by that. Look at that. All their lips have receded and they've got like all green, and they don't look like they're in a lot of comfort, let's put it that way. On the other side of the screen, we have Festus the Leechlord, as I said earlier. Now, he's bringing some Chaos Warhounds, and these are the upgraded model that have poison attacks, like everything with a Nurgle is some kind of poison. He's brought his own unit of Nugglings, a Exalted Plague Bearers of Nurgle. The slight difference of these guys is they can pull out bits of themselves and throw them as a ranged weapon. He's got another Plague Bearers on his side, he's got another unit of Nurglings, and he's got a unit of Spawn of Nurgle. The one thing I will say is that the spawn units are really kind of boring in this game. They're all just that with different colour palettes. It's very rare that the developers do much that's different with them, which is a shame. I would have loved to have seen unique spawns for every faction that would have befit them. And of course, there are two generals. We have Festus the Leechlord, and yes, that is a pipe that's coming out of part of his body that goes into this machine that then possibly wraps around here for the staff. No, I don't know what's going on with it. He's a weird-looking boy. Obviously, on the other side of it is Ku'Gath Plaguefather, probably one of the most expensive lords in the game. Getting him to randomly generate for this took quite a few clicks. So we'll see how it goes. One of the key things with Nurgle forces is that speed is not of the essence. In fact, it is literally just slowly making your way across the field and hoping that the enemy dies of old age, really, before anything else happens, and then getting involved in the fight. Another factor here is that Ku'Gath he's not the type of wizard lord that gets involved in the fight directly. He prefers to pull a bit out of his gut and throw it like a explosive projectile at his enemies. In this case, he just smacked Festus right in the face with that. A rather impressive one. Festus himself is also a wizard, so this is a sorcerer battle that we're seeing here with his two forces of minions. It's Magic the Gathering, but with less of the OGL 1.1 horrendous business acumen there of Wizards of the Coast. As we've got, as I mentioned, those Exalted Plague Bearers, they like to fling bits of themselves. As you can see, we're not quite sure what they're firing, but it doesn't look pleasant. Let's say the least. It's poison, of course. Everything's poison. What is it? What's the debuff? Poison. How many times does it do it? Poison. It just poisons. Is it poison? Yes. Now, Ku'Gath is very, very specifically attacking Festus the Leechlord. It's a weird quirk of the AI. I'm not quite sure why they do this specifically. They just do. We got a bit of a flank battle here going on. The Chariots are actually having a tough time against the Chaos Warhounds, but that's because Chariots work better in the charge, less so in the actual scrum. They don't do as well there, even though the guy on the back of it is wielding a gigantic axe. It's not doing very well against these doggos. In fact, he's getting held up here, and that's a bad thing, because we do have a unit of Ku'Gath's Plague Bearers that are starting to disintegrate. They're being banished back to the realm of chaos, whence they came, and they're going to disappear pretty quickly. There they go. So that's going to leave one unit of Plague Bearers of Nurgle left to fight off against the Nurgling Swarm, the Chaos Spawn, another Plague Bearers of Nurgle, and all the rest of it. Festus is just having a good old time just wandering around here. That's he's cooking up something vile in that thing on his back. The Nurglings here of Ku'Gath are actually doing quite well. Nurglings are a surprisingly resistant unit in this game. You actually can't go wrong with a big unit of a big army of Nurglings. An army of Nurglings would actually do you quite well in certain scenarios because they're actually kind of tough to hit, and they have a rapid attack pattern. They don't do a lot of damage, but they can chip damage units apart. And a couple of elites just backing it all up. We have a breaking news as a Chaos Warhounds division broke through the flank. They went round into the trees and they decided that they were going to get Ku'Gath. Unfortunately, that just caused him to fart, and he caused some infested Nurglings to appear. So he's actually just gained a unit. I believe this unit is permanent. Now, ignore the tree that's constantly falling in the background. It's a quirk of this map. Not quite sure why that happens. It just does. Don't look at the tree. Stop looking at the tree falling constantly in the background into the ground. Stop looking at it. It's not actually a problem. Why you're looking at it, you're making it worse. Ku'Gath for some reason did attack the Nurglings. It didn't seem to do any damage to them. Probably just a bit of an animation quirk there. And we've also got a unit of the Marauders of Nurgle. They're actually getting back into the fight. This is quite rare. Usually once the AI flee, it's very rare that they come back in with any kind of morale that's actually worth a damn. But here they go. They're going to charge in. This is by the way, I'm not going to lie, this one is a slow, weird battle. As we get around here, Spawn of Nurgle are pretty fresh. In fact, I think, to a degree, I think one of the buffs that Festus can deliver to his friendlies is a regenerative buff. But as you can see, the one thing with Nurgle forces are very tanky. They have a lot of hit points. It takes a lot to kill Nurgle troops. So yeah, you can find that just your average Plaguebearer unit, tanky as whole hell. These things take a long time to die. We can see these infested Nurglings are getting involved here. They're doing some damage. We can see that the enemy Nurglings, Festus's Nurglings, are finally dying. But I'm sure they've done quite a lot of damage in their existence here on the battlefield. They all just seem to be popping out of existence and dying. I think the time of day is going to change because it's gotten a little bit darker despite the fact that it's largely clear skies, but down here it's quite shaded. It's making it kind of difficult to see some of the details that's going on screen. I do apologise for that. I'll get right onto Creative Assembly about that one. As the Marauders of Nurgle are having a bit of a rough time. They have been hit with Curse of the Slug, which has just reduced their speed, which is, well, kind of taking the piss really with with units of Nurgle. They're already slow enough as it is. They don't need to be reduced in speed anymore. But the Marauders are having a tough time. They're slowly breaking. They're losing men. They're losing the will to live. Plaguebearers over there in Nurgle, hats off to them because they're battling it out with another Plaguebearers and a Nurgling and Festus. Festus is taking a lot of damage. He's taking half his hit points. Ku'Gath, on the other hand, sees we're bugged out and is refusing to throw any more projectiles. He's losing valuable time here where he could be hitting enemy units, but he's not doing any. He's not casting any spells. He's not throwing any projectiles. He's just sat there, being rather large, rather green. He's like a plaguey, disgusting Hulk all the way over there. Now, of course, Festus's forces have finally managed to deal with the Marauders, who are probably broken for good this time. I don't really see them coming back from that. The Nurglings were the only success that they had. The Chariots are considering whether they want to stay involved in this fight, but yeah, some Spawn of Nurgle will definitely change your mind about that particular decision. Tactically speaking, they may have to flee as well. They are getting close to that. The poison, strangely enough, poison in this game does not actually do damage. Poison in this game, it just gives you debuffs. So you can see a speed, armor piercing, base melee, base missile, and armor piercing damage, all reduced by 15% across the board. Poison, I would have thought, would have been a slow damage over time effect, but it is not that at all. It's a bit of a misleading name. Now, as I said, just ignore any items that you might see constantly falling into the ground like that. We don't know why this happens. It just does. Anyway, Ku'Gath is once again throwing projectiles. Looks like he was being very honourable there. He was just seeing how much damage his Plaguebearers could do. The Marauders did actually come back into the fight for a brief time, but it didn't help them. Meanwhile, the Spolier have been hit with the Miasma of Pestilence spell for some reason. Not quite sure why he used it on them. Now we can see that we have all of these units. They're exhausted or very tired, and as you can see, the movement speed of a Nurgle army that is exhausted or tired is not great. This is as quick as they go. They don't have to go anywhere very fast. But one of the key factors here is that Festus himself actually has something of a negative debuff. He has an AoE effect that's constant, and it does damage to everybody, and it does damage to his own troops as well. I forget what the name of it is. It will probably pop up on Ku'Gath when they get closer, but it basically does between 12 and 24 damage per second. This plays into the whole death and rebirth element of Nurgle's thing, but as you can see, his troops do slowly take damage even though they're not being hit. You can see the bar above, and I don't know if this is intentional that his own forces take minor amounts of damage, but it does slowly happen. Individual units take little bits of hit point damage. Festus just keeps getting smacked in the face by explosive, I don't know, entrails. But Ku'Gath is left on his Tod, sat in his throne, pulling bits of himself out. Oh, it's a Nurgling. He throws an explosive Nurgling. It just throws his little head then. He wants to cast a spell, and he hits him with the Plaguefather as they get hit with, I don't know, vomit. It's hard to tell. Exploding Nurgling. Nurgling hand grenade. Festus again, smacked in the face. Now, when I say this is a weird fight, this is where things just continue to get stranger and stranger. Now, somehow the Forsaken of Nurgle have come back. I missed this the first time that I played this battle because I was intently focused on what was happening with Ku'Gath. But the Forsaken, I don't know where they were the whole battle. Did they flee? Did they come back? I'd have to go through the replay again. I'm going to assume that they did run. Then they got so far away, and then they must have come back again. Sorry, I yawned a bit there. Rather than me sound like I was going, no, I was just yawning. Oh, he spawned some more infested Nurglings. That's going to help. That's going to help him a lot, actually, because he's going to do a lot of damage over time. Ku'Gath has just got some great abilities. We don't know what he did there. He just seemed to, like, crush that little Nurgling in his hands. I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe that particular one just wasn't explosive enough, so he just squished it. Now we got everything. Basically, a vast majority of Festus's force is now back. Now, there it is. Harbinger of Pestilence. It says damage per second 12 to 24. As far as I can tell, this affects all units. It's not just the enemies. I think it affects the friendlies as well because they take damage. Although that said, I'm not also sure whether Ku'Gath has his own damage per second ability around him. I believe he does. So basically, just being near him is damaging units. It's also damaging Festus, which is part of the reason that Festus is not wanting to get involved in this fight. As you can see, Festus is just going to wander off. He doesn't want any part of this battle. They're both out of MP at this point as well. They've got no more. There's no more winds of magic for them to draw upon at this point. They've cast multiple spells. I'm pretty sure Ku'Gath used most of his spells just summoning a pair of infested Nurglings to the field. He's casting. I think that might be his last spell that he's going to cast. You can see there's healing elixirs. He's like Festus is trying to heal bonus units. But the Plaguebearers is banished. They are slowly being disintegrated and sent back to the realm of chaos. So that's a big morale hit. You can see at the top of the bar, it's actually winning. Ku'Gath is winning this fight on his own. We're up to. There's 20 apparently. It says allied troop count of 20. I don't know where the other 19 troops are. No idea. No idea where these other troops are, but according to this, don't look at the tree. Don't look at the tree. But he's slowly killing off enemies. He's vomiting on them. He's kicking them. He's throwing exploding Nurglings at them. There you go. Boom. Adam Cole, baby, with that one. Oh, a pair of Nurglings. Oh, they just squished two of them together. And I mean, most of Ku'Gath's abilities revolve around spewing, vomiting, throwing a Nurgling, squishing a Nurgling, smacking two Nurglings together like dolls. He's you know, occasionally he does a little kick. He'll slide off his chair and kick something in the face with his corpulent, bloated feet. You see, Festus is just watching. Because he's slowly losing health, like just being in the vicinity here. He's got enough to survive to just watch this fight, but he is slowly losing hit points as well. Because all these units are just hitting him. Just Ku'Gath is not dying. He's just still going. I thought his morale would break by now. He still has ammo. He's got Nurglings in his gut ready to throw. He's not going to run out anytime soon. I don't know if he did that. I don't know if he heals that one. He just threw it to the floor. I don't know if he just poisons or whatever that one. I don't know what's going on. There, a little bit of a vomit going on there. I don't know if there's tactics involved at this point. I don't know what's happening. I honestly don't know what's happening. I mean, other than the fact that Ku'Gath is actually winning. The spawn of Nurgle, they've lost a majority of their hit points. The Exalted Plaguebearers, granted, they've got 87 of their number, but they're wavering now. Because Festus has decided, I'm off, because he's lost too much of his health. So he's retreating. The Exalted Plaguebearers are rapidly disbanding. 9, 7, 1, and they are gone. They have literally just turned into, I don't know, mush. And now it's just the one unit that can't actually do anything because they're unbreakable. So they have to stay until they're dead. But Ku'Gath alone won the battle. So I'll say it now. Congratulations, Ku'Gath Plaguefather. You go forward into the grand tournament in the old world as the general to represent Nurgle. And by the looks of it, the one general here who could just win a battle on his own. This is unprecedented in the tournament of the old world. We haven't seen this before. Is this intentional? Is this what the developers intended to happen in a battle in a battle where Ku'Gath apparently, as a wizard, can just win a battle right out on his own there? The celebratory Nurgling explosion, and we're over. We're done. The tree in the background. It's insane. 469 deployed by Ku'Gath, 399 lost, 70 remaining. I don't know where the others. I guess it was maybe the chariots and that counted. I don't know. Festus had 505, 436 losses, 69 remaining. He had a Chaos Warhound unit that did 0. It was pretty weak there. His best performing unit was the Spawn of Nurgle. Not surprising, Spawn usually do quite well. Festus killed 31. Of course, Ku'Gath got 85. It's a relatively, it's a decent spread of kills across the board. And there were a lot of deaths. Pyrrhic victory, for sure. He was the only one left on the field. But, yeah. It's interesting. It was a weird battle. I'd say weakest, most pointless unit was the Marauders of Nurgle on his side and the Chaos Warhounds on the Festus' side. Yeah, it's an odd one, but yeah, congrats there to Ku'Gath. He goes through, so we'll leave it there. Have a good one all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.